There was a time when his name echoed through every stadium in the NFL, a time when quarterbacks feared looking his way, a time when wearing silver and black meant playing alongside one of the greatest cornerbacks to ever touch the field. Willie Brown wasn't just a Raider, he was the Raiders, the heartbeat of a defense that defined an era, the leader in the huddle, the legend with the unforgettable pick six in Super Bowl XI, frozen forever in time. But somewhere along the way, that time forgot him. As new generations celebrate today's stars, his name slips quietly into the shadows. His story, once broadcast on national TV, is now whispered only by the most loyal fans. And the way it all ended? Quiet, painful, almost unnoticed. How does a man who shaped football history become a forgotten icon? This is not just a story of greatness. It's a story of loss, of fading cheers, of a legend who gave everything, only to be remembered by too few. Willie Brown's story deserves more, and today we're going to tell it, against all odds. The journey that built a Raiders legend? From overlooked to unstoppable, Willie Brown's journey to NFL greatness didn't begin with hype, headlines, or high expectations. It started with rejection. Born in Yazoo City, Mississippi in 1940, Brown grew up in the heart of the segregated South, where opportunities were limited and dreams often felt just out of reach. Despite his natural athletic ability, he was undrafted coming out of Grambling State University in 1963. Coaches questioned his size, doubted his speed, and overlooked his potential. But what they didn't see was his heart, the fire inside a young man determined to prove them all wrong. After being cut by the Houston Oilers, Brown's NFL dream could have ended right there. But fate had other plans. The Denver Broncos took a chance on him, and almost instantly, Brown proved to be a game changer. His instinct, technique, and ability to read quarterbacks were beyond his years. He quickly became one of the AFL's top defenders, intercepting 9 passes in just his second season. But it wasn't until 1967, when he was traded to the Oakland Raiders, that his legend truly began. The heart of the silver and black. When Willie Brown arrived in Oakland, he didn't just join a team, he became the soul of a movement. Al Davis recognized Brown's intelligence and toughness, making him the cornerstone of the Raiders' secondary. His swagger matched the Raiders' rebellious spirit, and his leadership both on and off the field turned him into a fan favorite. Brown's playing style was gritty and cerebral. He shut down elite receivers, baited quarterbacks into bad decisions, and anchored one of the most feared defenses in football. Across 12 seasons with the Raiders, he racked up 39 interceptions and made countless game-saving plays. But none more iconic than his 75-yard pick six in Super Bowl XI, a play still etched in NFL history. By the time he retired in 1978, Willie Brown wasn't just a Hall of Fame cornerback, he was a Raider legend, the embodiment of resilience, tenacity, and pride. He didn't just rise to greatness, he forced the world to recognize it. Raiders' greatness, building a dynasty, the soul of the silver and black defense. By the 1970s, the Oakland Raiders were no longer just a team. They were a football phenomenon. And at the heart of their menacing defense stood Willie Brown, the shutdown corner who defined what it meant to wear silver and black. While the Raiders were known for their wild image and fierce attitude, Brown was the cool, calculating general in the secondary, smart, physical, and relentless. He became the quarterback of the defense, studying film obsessively and anticipating plays before they happened. Quarterbacks across the league learned quickly, don't throw toward number 24. His presence alone altered offensive game plans. Brown's mastery of man-to-man coverage, ball-hawking instincts, and ability to lead under pressure elevated the Raiders' defense to championship caliber. With every game, he reinforced a legacy of toughness and excellence. As the team evolved, Brown remained its emotional anchor. He made 4 Pro Bowl appearances and was named an All-Pro multiple times, not just for flashy stats, but for consistent excellence. In the locker room, younger players looked up to him. On the field, opponents feared him. And in the hearts of Raider Nation, he was untouchable, a champion on and off the field. Then came the defining moment, the one that immortalized him forever. Super Bowl XI, The Raiders faced the Minnesota Vikings, and it was more than just a championship. It was a culmination of years of pain, near misses, and grit. Late in the game, as the Vikings desperately tried to mount a comeback, Brown read quarterback Fran Tarkenton like a book. He stepped in front of the pass, snagged the interception, and took off down the sideline. 75 yards later, he crossed into the end zone with a raised fist, a symbol of triumph, of vindication, of legacy. That pick six wasn't just a highlight. It became one of the most iconic moments in Super Bowl history. It was the exclamation mark on an extraordinary career and the moment that cemented the Raiders as world champions. For Brown, it was a crowning achievement, but even then, he remained humble, deflecting praise and lifting up his teammates. Beyond the field, Willie Brown was equally impactful. He mentored players, represented the Raiders with class, and became a living example of Raider pride. He wasn't just a champion in stats, he was a champion in spirit. The silent decline, life after the glory. After the bright lights of the football field faded, Willie Brown's life took a quieter turn. His time in the spotlight was over, and though his name still echoed in the hearts of Raiders fans, the rest of the world had moved on. While many legends remain visible long after their playing days, Willie Brown's story is different. His legacy, though undeniable, began to quietly fade from the mainstream as time passed. Fading from the spotlight. When Willie Brown retired, he wasn't just leaving behind a career filled with remarkable achievements. He was stepping away from the world he'd once dominated. The Raiders were in transition, and so was Willie. He tried to stay involved with the team, but as decades passed, his visibility began to diminish. From a respected cornerback to a quieter figure, his career began to feel like a distant memory. Willie's post-football years were spent in relative obscurity compared to the fame he had enjoyed as a player. He moved into a behind-the-scenes role, coaching and mentoring up-and-coming players, but the bright spotlight was now on others. With every passing year, fewer fans remembered the shutdown corner who had once defined the Raiders' defense. Struggles away from the game. Though Willie remained a figure of respect among Raiders faithful, the personal challenges he faced away from football were daunting. His foray into broadcasting didn't carry the same success as his playing days. Willie also spent time working as a coach for the Raiders, yet it wasn't quite the same. The glory of the field couldn't be replicated. As his visibility waned, the emotional toll of no longer being a key part of the franchise took its toll. He had given so much of himself to the Raiders, to football, and to the game. But now, as the years went on, the emotional weight of no longer being center stage, no longer being the face of a dynasty, became harder to ignore. His role in the shadows didn't bring him the same fulfillment, and over time, it became clear that the world of football had largely forgotten the greatness of Willie Brown. The tragic end, the final days of Willie Brown. As with many legends, the final chapter of Willie Brown's life was marked not by triumph, but by a quiet, heartbreaking struggle. The cornerback who had once been a force to be reckoned with on the football field, the man who had been the backbone of the Raiders' championship defense, was now facing a battle that no one saw coming. A battle far different from the ones he fought on the field. The battle no one saw coming. In his later years, Willie faced serious health challenges, ones that stripped him of his vitality and ultimately led to his demise. The Raiders icon, beloved for his indomitable spirit, found himself fighting against a series of illnesses that slowly weakened him. The once vibrant player, who had defined so many crucial moments in NFL history, now faced a struggle away from the public eye. Despite his health battles, Willie's strength and determination never fully left him. However, like so many great athletes, the toll of years of hard play, combined with the relentless march of time, made it impossible for him to escape the ravages of aging. Those closest to him saw the transformation, but to the rest of the world, the decline was largely invisible. As his body began to fail him, Willie's resilience remained. But there was little attention given to the man behind the football legend. A goodbye that went unnoticed. In 2019, the world lost Willie Brown. However, the news of his passing was met with little fanfare outside of Raider Nation. Unlike many other sports legends, Willie's death didn't make national headlines. There were no widespread tributes in the media, no grand ceremonies or celebrations of his life and career. It was as though the world had moved on, forgotten the greatness of the man who had once been one of the most dominant cornerbacks in NFL history. For those within the Raiders organization and the hearts of true fans, the loss was devastating, but it felt like a quiet, almost unnoticed exit. The public mourning was subtle, and while his legacy was still alive among those who cherished it, the broader world had forgotten to pay tribute to the true icon who had shaped the Raiders franchise and the league as a whole. As Raider Nation took a collective pause to remember the man who had contributed so much to their beloved team, it became clear that Willie's death was more than just the loss of a legend. It was the loss of a piece of history, one that had quietly faded from the spotlight. His death was a sobering reminder of how even the greatest athletes can be forgotten, their legacies slipping through the cracks of time. And in that quiet grief, fans knew that Willie Brown, for all of his greatness, had left this world without the acknowledgement he truly deserved. Legacy fading, how we forgot a legend. Willie Brown was one of the most dominant cornerbacks in NFL history, a key player in the Raiders' legendary defenses, and a key figure in Super Bowl XI. Yet, despite his legendary status, it feels as though his memory is slipping away, fading into the shadows as time marches on. His name is gradually becoming less synonymous with greatness, and his role in shaping the Raiders' dynasty is being overshadowed by newer, louder voices in the world of sports. A name lost to the new generation. For the younger generations of NFL fans, the name Willie Brown might not resonate with the same weight it carries for those who watched him make history. As the years go by and new players emerge, legends like Brown fade into the background. With every passing year, there are fewer people who recall his iconic pick six in Super Bowl XI or his unparalleled ability to shut down opposing receivers. Instead, names like Deion Sanders, Richard Sherman, and even recent Raiders cornerbacks have taken center stage. In the whirlwind of modern-day sports, where social media and instant gratification reign, it's easy for legends of the past to become distant figures in an ever-evolving narrative. While new stars are celebrated and their highlights shared in real time, Willie Brown's contributions to the game are becoming less frequently discussed, his legacy lost in the rapid pace of today's NFL world. Why Willie still matters. Despite this erasure from mainstream conversation, Willie Brown's impact on the game remains undeniable. He was not just a cornerback, but a defining figure in the Raiders' history. His leadership on the field and his role in their Super Bowl victory laid the foundation for the team's success throughout the 1970s. Willie was the embodiment of Raider toughness, a player who wasn't afraid to take risks, who knew how to read the game, and who was pivotal in making the Raiders the team to beat in their prime. Willie Brown wasn't just a standout athlete. He was a cornerstone of a cultural identity. The Raiders were more than just a football team. They were a reflection of a certain tough, rebellious spirit. And Willie, as a key player, helped shape that identity. For those who truly understand Raider Nation, Willie's place in history cannot be overstated. But as time passes, fewer and fewer fans have the same connection to this legacy. A name forgotten amidst new stars. Willie's fading legacy is all the more tragic when compared to other legends whose names are etched in NFL history. Players like Joe Namath, Johnny Unitas, and Jerry Rice have managed to stay relevant in the cultural consciousness due to their media presence, their records, and the widespread recognition of their names. But what is it about Willie Brown that makes him fade from the limelight? It's not for a lack of achievement. He earned his place in the Pro Football Hall of Fame in 1984, and his impact on the game was undeniable during his time. However, unlike the names that have become synonymous with the sport, Willie's legacy hasn't been continuously nurtured through documentaries, broadcasts, or consistent fan recognition. His name doesn't appear on the NFL's top 100 players of all time, and for many young fans, his memory is only a brief mention in the history books. Why history often forgets those who built it. It's a sad but recurring reality that those who lay the groundwork for greatness often fade into obscurity. Willie Brown was not only part of a championship team, but was also integral in helping to build the foundation of the NFL's culture during his time. Yet, like so many others before him, His achievements are slowly losing relevance in an age dominated by media-driven narratives and newer generations of athletes. Willie Brown deserves to be remembered as a cornerstone of not just the Raiders' history, but of the entire NFL. His legacy is one of resilience, strength, and leadership. But unless Raider Nation and the football community take it upon themselves to keep his story alive, we risk losing yet another legend to the passage of time. And in doing so, we forget not just Willie Brown, but the very essence of what made the NFL so iconic in the first place. Honoring a legend, keeping Willie Brown's memory alive. He deserves to be remembered. Willie Brown's contributions to the Raiders and the NFL should never fade into the background. His legacy, defined by greatness on the field and an unwavering spirit, deserves to be celebrated, not forgotten. He helped lay the foundation for Raider Nation's proud tradition, and his name should forever be synonymous with that history. Your voice matters, Raider Nation. The beauty of sports culture is that the stories of legends don't end with time. They continue through the voices of those who remember. Willie's story is far from over. It's up to us, the fans, to ensure that his legacy remains alive for generations to come. Every time we share a memory, every time we honor his name, we keep the spirit of Willie Brown intact. As Raider Nation, we have the power to keep his story alive, not just as a footnote in history, but as a shining example of resilience and excellence. Share your thoughts. We invite you to reflect on Willie's incredible journey, the triumphs, the struggles, and the impact he had on the game and the Raiders. Leave your comments, share your favorite Willie Brown moments, and pay tribute to a true icon. His memory lives on through us,